Hi there, everybody, and welcome back. Two in a row. I did a live chat yesterday, and I've decided to do another one again today. So I'm going all out. For those of you who don't know, my name is Andrew. This is Prestige Liquids. I hope you've all been well, and I thought, why not do another live video? I hope you don't mind. I've been doing a few of them lately, so I hope you don't find them too much of an overkill. But I've been really enjoying doing them, and as long as you're happy to be joining me in the chats, then I'm going to keep doing them. Vin, welcome. Oh man, I'm so glad you're able to come in. Thank you very much. Um, yeah, man, that's great. How have you been, man? That's fine. That's 100% fine, Vin. I had a lot of stiff competition last night with doing that chat that I did yesterday. I was going up against Roy and Ralphie. Oh man, I should have known that I had no chance. But I thought, stuff it, I'm gonna do it anyway. It's good experience for me, and I enjoy doing it, so why not? So what I've had in mind for today's chat is talking about glassware and what is the what is the correct glass to use for your whiskey. Um, so yeah, I don't really want to keep this going on too long. I want to try and keep it a bit of a short one today, but I'm going to go right into it. So first of all, okay, so your Glencairn. This is the tried and tested glass that I'll say you'll probably find the majority of people will be using. Most whiskey, I'll say at least most good whiskey bars anyway, should be using these. Um, you got your classic tumbler or rocks glass. Some people like to use a wine glass. Personally, I'm not a fan of using a wine glass, but that's my opinion. Or really, you've got other tulip shaped glasses. Those, this is probably more of a classic design. I actually really this is one of my favorite glasses actually for drinking port. So, but I do use it for whiskey as well. So I'm not going to go pouring whiskey into all of these because I'm just going to get wasted, and we don't want that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the Glencairn, and I am going to be pouring a glass of the Spey River. It's an NAS, double cask matured. And yeah, just a basic Speyside single malt. So let's get into it. I think that should do it. I've actually really I've loved the color on this whiskey. It's a fantastic color. Mate, this is the Spey River Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey. So I'm gonna go reading off the can. So it is a double cask matured whiskey. Um, First cask American oak, and then finished off in bourbon in a bourbon cask. They've gone on with the usual, I guess, nonsense of, yeah, hand selected American oak casks hold the newly distilled spirit, slowly imparting its color and flavor. Only when the spirit is ready, it is then transferred to the second cask for extra conditioning. And then Um, for the bourbon cask, they are casks that have previously held American bourbon finish, the spirit adding layers of complexity. This process adds unique flavors and aromas whilst maintaining the original spirit's unique style. Oh, you're correct there, mate. Hi, Mark. How are you? Nice to see you in. Whiskey out, whiskey straight. Good to see you in, buddy. How are you? Um, uh, Sometimes they can just really like blabber on with what I guess kind of irrelevant information they put on the on the on the tins. But hey, it adds a little bit of reading. Actually, one thing that I really enjoyed about this whiskey when I first tried it was I didn't actually read I didn't really read um, the tin at all. I just pretty much opened the bottle, started drinking. I mean, I read the name and that was pretty much it. And I'm drinking it. I'm thinking, oh man, this tastes like this has to be a bourbon, like bourbon barrel finish. It's got all those notes in it. And then I thought, stuff. Let me look at the tin. And yeah, I was right. So American Oak and ex bourbon barrels. So that was like, yeah, score one for me. The noob has finally been able to pick out barrel notes and distinguish. Yes, that was definitely a ex bourbon cask. So yeah, I was happy about that. But enough about that for now. I was here to talk about glassware. So as I've mentioned, I'm using my Glencairn. Uh, Majority, I have to say by majority, I'm assuming probably good 90 to 95% of people will tell you that the Glencairn is the best glass to use for nosing and tasting your whiskey. And in my own opinion, I'd have to agree. Um, I've tried other glasses, and it's more so, especially when it comes to nosing. For me, I haven't been able to beat the Glencairn, um, or say most say tulip shaped glasses. I mean, you will notice how the glass tapers up towards the end. This allows you so as you're nosing, it allows you to get your nose into the glass. It concentrates all the aroma, where in comparison to say a tumbler, for example, where you pretty much stick your whole face in the glass and you've got everything just washing past you. Um, Pretty much the same deal with wine glass. Like I said before, I'm not a fan of using wine glasses for tasting whiskies. For me, wine glasses are for wine and that's it. The other glass that I mentioned before is this other tulip shaped glass. This is the one that I love to use when I'm drinking port. I do use it for sampling whiskey as well. Usually when I'm at the shop here, it's usually what I have on hand. Especially since I only have the one Glencairn, I haven't bought myself another one yet. They're quite pricey here, unfortunately. Um, the only downside I've found with this glass is that I wish it was a little bit a little bit longer. As you can see, in comparison to the Glencairn, it's about half the size. And when you're nosing in this, I find that you just get a quick hit of vapor, and you do get a lot of the notes, but you really have to sit with the glass for quite a while. And unfortunately, I have a bad habit of finishing the whiskey a lot faster than what I will be for nosing and tasting. So, um, yeah, but that's not to say as well that any of these glasses are bad. For me, I also find it depends on the mood that I'm in. If I'm wanting to explore a whiskey, then for sure, and especially on the first time that I'm opening a bottle, Glencairn all the way. I want to experience everything. I want to be able to know what I'm nosing, what I'm tasting, and all that kind of jazz. Um, but having said that, if I'm not wanting to have anything overly too complex, or I'm going back to a whiskey that I'm very familiar with and I just want to sit there and enjoy it, well, you can't go wrong with a classic tumbler. You think about it. Especially if you're sitting down with a whiskey that you're familiar with, you know pretty much all there is to know about it already. You're not going to be, so the chances are you're not really going to be experiencing anything new from it. You just want to sit there and enjoy your whiskey, and a rocks glass or tumbler is more than perfect for that. Well, now that I've poured this dram, well, I might as well start drinking it. What do you say? Shall I give my tasting notes on this? Vin, I believe you were saying earlier that you've never seen the Spey River before. Do you know, is it not available at all in the UK, or maybe it's just hard to find? I know in Sydney, I have seen an age statement of it. I believe that I, it was either a 10 or a 12-year age statement. I can't remember off the top of my head. But you can get a few different variations of it here in Sydney, which is pretty cool. I haven't tried them yet myself. I've only gotten this one, which I received as a Christmas present last year. But yeah, I guess if you are able to find it, I know in Australia that is considered as a budget. So you're still a man. If you're a proper noob, then I don't want to know what level I'm at. I think I'm still like at the level of the seed just sprouting out of the soil and waiting to grow. uh, well, for now, let's see. I'm going to get into the tasting, so bear with me. I'm going to go into the nose. Might just for now chat amongst yourselves. As I mentioned a bit earlier, that color is fantastic. It's a nice, like, golden. I wouldn't say it's as dark as golden syrup, but it's not far off it. It's very, very nice. I don't know if you can see that very well there. The camera's probably going out of focus. Hi, Alan. How are you? Mate, you've just got here in time for the nosing on this. We're drinking Spey River today. So without further ado, time to get into the nosing. One pesky fly. Alright, here we go. Okay, so again, oak, vanilla, caramel. Very strong vanilla and caramel on the nose. Yeah, there's not much really going on the nose. It has a bit of a spicy note to it. I think I'm getting probably what a lot of people refer to as like green, or more so being very young. Um, this doesn't have the nose of a very a well-aged whiskey. Sorry, everybody. I just need to quickly check something. Just got emails coming through. Okay, so yeah, vanilla, caramel, apple. Yeah, there's definitely some apple and pear in there that comes through a little bit later. Yeah, I think that's it for the nosing. Let's go for the palate now. Let's see what we get. Okay, first thing you'll notice, sorry, not know, the first thing you will notice, it's very woody. Um, you get a strong spice note that actually hits the tip of your tongue and then washes back. It has a very light mouthfeel. There's not much going on. Currently, it's actually it's dried the center of my tongue, but it's made the sides have actually started uh, to water. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, so very woody, vanilla, caramel, again, orchid fruits or orchard fruits, I guess, depending on how you want to pronounce. Apples, pears, uh, honey. Yep, there's definitely some honey notes. Thanks for the thumbs up, Vin. I appreciate that, and everybody else who has so far. Um, Lately, I've found there's been a few whiskeys that I've been drinking lately, or ones that I've tried. This is one for an example. The other one was the Island Green, the Chivas Mizunara. Uh, the the palate is so short. You'll sip it, you'll get a quick succession of flavors, and then it's gone, and then it vanishes. There's nothing left. I've kind of been a bit disappointed in that, to be honest. I want a whiskey uh, to just last. I want to be able to taste those flavors. So one of you in the chat, sorry, I didn't catch the name, mentioned that it could possibly mean that it has like a salty note to it. I think you might be right. Let me have another try. It does actually, uh, but it's very slight. Just then, I think I actually got like a touch of cherry and also quite a bit of a grassy note coming through as well. So, considering that I'm assuming this is a young, non-age statement whiskey, there's a lot going on. This is actually a perfect beginner whiskey. So if any of you have been asked, which I'm sure you get asked on a daily basis, what would you recommend for a noob? Spey River, definitely. Especially for bourbon notes. If somebody's asking you, what would you recommend for standout bourbon cast notes? This is hitting all of them perfectly. Um, the finish on this at the moment, it's very soft, not overly too complex. Most of the flavors that you get coming through on the nose and the palate wash away, and really all you're left with is a grassy note. Vin, I'm like a private recommendation service these days. I think you also need to start a career as a YouTube advisor. Because I know you've helped me heaps. You've always been very willing to hand out advice when I've asked for it, and it's always been highly appreciated. So thank you. And I know there's been a lot of others as well who you've willingly helped out. So that's incredible. Thanks very much, Vin. We all appreciate that. Um, all right, so I've got a little bit left in the glass. Lately, with a few of the reviews that I've been doing lately, I've been adding water to it just to see how it goes, and it's probably a bit too much. 2 drops. That'll do. Now, this is. Sorry, guys. There's a bit of things going on outside. With this whiskey in particular, and a few of the ones that I've been sampling lately, they've all been bottled at 40%, with the exception of the Johnny Walker Island Green that was at 43. 'Vin, this is at 40%. And the one thing that I've been surprised at the most is that I've expected the water to destroy the tasting notes on these whiskies, especially being at such a low ABV. So far, it has actually improved them, and I've been very surprised. So let's see how we go on this one. I've just added 2 drops of water. Alright, so already spice notes have become more dominant. More vanilla and wood. The same notes are pretty much still there. They have just kind of been intensified a little bit. So it hasn't really added anything extra except for increasing the strength. Wow. This happened to me yesterday on the Mizunara cask as well. Adding the water has actually thickened it. Um, the mouthfeel is a lot more syrupy now, whereas in comparison to when it was straight without water, um, it felt more watery. I mean, how do you work that one out? You add more water into the glass, you expect it to be so diluted, but it's actually thickened the whiskey. It's actually coating your tongue and leaving the mouth feel a lot longer. Oh man, that I am constantly surprised at what a whiskey, at what they can do. It's incredible. Hmm. So yeah, as I mentioned before, talking about the glasses. For me, I can't go wrong with the Glencairn. I think it's always a good solid glass to use time and time again. For me, it has been the perfect glass for exploring the whiskies. Yeah, I agree, Vin. What time is it here? Sorry. It's going on 9:30 a.m. So that's the only downside for me doing these live chats. Um, I at the moment, I've really been loving my UK and the European support that I've been getting from the YouTube community at the moment, and that is the reason. So you guys are the reason why I am doing these live chats at this time. It's because I love to speak with you. I love to see you come into the chat. You guys are just a fantastic crowd. Although one day I am going to have to try and do a later one for Australian time and see how that goes in regards to drumming up an Australian audience or maybe tapping into the US side. But seeing you guys like Alan, Vin, Matthias from Caskmate, even one of the new whiskey tubers, New Dram, he's not in at the moment, but even he's been fantastic to chat with, and um, yeah, these live chats for me have been they've been so much fun. Um, so while I'm at it, I'm probably going to finish this up soon. Is there any? I mean, throw me some questions. Is there anything that you're wanting to know? Um, but yeah, my main reason for doing these live chats has been more so for the fact that since I am not always able to put out proper edited reviews as frequently as I would like to, doing these live chats actually allows me to put out more content. I mean, sure, a lot of the videos I've done so far have been over 30 minutes to 40. How long have I been into the whiskey and what was the first one? I would say solidly, I have been into whiskey probably for the last 2 years. Obviously, I don't know what it is in the UK, but say legal drinking age in Australia is 18 years. So I'd have to say that probably one of my first whiskeys that I remember ever having is either going to be uh, either the Jack Daniels or the Johnny Walker Black Label. I can't remember exactly, but it's going to be either one of those. Yeah. Solid whiskey, very enjoyable. Again, if you guys are able to get a bottle, go for it. But in terms of what was the first whiskey that I had that made me go, wow, that was just a major turning point. Um, I'll say thanks for that, Al. I'm glad you've been enjoying the chats. You've been one of my, I think from the second video that I've done, I think you have been pretty much following me on these live chats since then. So I really appreciate that. But the crown of the crown of first YouTube live watcher for me goes to Alan, the whiskey friend. So you'll always be on the mantle for that one, Alan. Always know you'll be my first live viewer. So thank you very much. But yeah, I will going back to um, what was the first whiskey that just totally amazed me. That would definitely be the Laphroaig 10. Very early on in my whiskey journey. You always remember your first. Look, I love Alan, but I don't love him that way. um, yeah, so yeah, Laphroaig 10. I remember, and I think this is something that I mentioned in one of the other videos that I had done before. Uh, in terms of what your favorite whiskeys are, I said that there are usually two types of whiskeys uh, that you will have your favorite as, and one is the whiskey that you fell in love with in the moment, the one that, for whatever reason, that particular moment in time, the people you were with just created the perfect scenario, and your memory of that moment and you drinking that whiskey has created this thing that nothing else can beat. And then the other category is whiskeys that you just love, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have one particular favorite whiskey, but you have multiple whiskeys that you enjoy just as much as each other. But yeah, going back for the Laphroaig 10, I remember I was at my cousin's house. It was coming up late at night. We were all just sitting around having a great chat. We were talking about whiskeys and some of the ones that I had tried and what I thought of them. And then my cousin's dad, he said, "Look, he goes, I want you to try this." Sorry, I've been talking a bit too much. Throat's getting a bit dry. Not as long as Roy and Ralphie. Man, that video went for 3 hours yesterday. That's incredible. Um, yeah, so his dad comes out with this can, and I'm thinking, man, what's that? And it was the can of the Laphroaig 10, and he pulled out the bottle. He goes, "Look, I'm sure you've never tried this before." He goes, "Tell me what you think." So we popped the cork, and then straight away this salty, smoky, peaty bomb just burst out of the bottle. And I didn't even pour it into a glass. I'm just smelling it straight from the bottom, and I was in love with it from the just from the smell alone. Um, yeah, we just started drinking it straight out of the. We just started drinking it straight out of the bottle. We were very classy. Uh, but I remember tasting that whiskey that day was just, it changed my perspective of what a whiskey could be and how much I could actually enjoy a whiskey. And that moment in time for me has just stood still. It's one of those ones that I remember perfectly. Um, yeah. So what else have we got? Is there anything else that you would like to know? Would you like me to keep going, or should I finish up? 'Cause at the moment, I'm trying to think of things to keep this going. Um, Yesterday's video, actually, I mentioned NAS whiskies. That was probably one of the main topics. What's your opinion on NAS? I know for me, to be honest, I don't have much of an issue with NAS whiskies. So far, the ones that I've tried, I've really enjoyed them. Um, I understand the perspective that a lot of people out there would be happy to. What made you decide to take your whiskey love to YouTube? So let me just, I'll come back to that. I- Excuse me. I know for myself, I would love to see age statements on bottles. For me, I don't care how young a whiskey is, because really, if the whiskey is nice, it's nice. You're going to enjoy it either way. And if that whiskey is as young as 3 years old, well, bloody hell, who gives a damn? Slap that label, slap that age statement on the label, and you'll have less people complaining about that's just another NAS whiskey. It's rubbish. Don't even bother trying it. I think that's probably one of the main reasons that people get annoyed with the NAS, is the fact that they want to know what's in the glass or what's in their bottle. Um, yeah, so just put that information out there. In terms of what made me bring my love of whiskey to YouTube, for one, I started seeing your videos, Vin. I had started watching the Whiskey Vault, and I just thought this is a fantastic community that I want to be a part of. Um, and I've loved every moment of my time doing it. I mean, I think it's been about 6 months or so since I've been doing this. And I'm not going to stop. I love it too much. Like I said, I'm not able to put out as many proper edited videos as I would like, but hey, that's not an issue. That's why we have the live videos. So for as long as I've got that, and I've got whiskey to talk about, I've got people to talk with. That's not going to stop. I'm going to keep at it, and you guys. Uh, you guys have been the biggest support network that I could ask for. I do have a few people around me who do enjoy drinking whiskey, but unfortunately, there's not as many as I would like. I wish I had a bigger community around me. Um, and yeah, Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Um, yeah, so being able to do all the whiskey tubing and the vlogging, it gives me a community of people to hang out with and to discuss what we all share as a big passion in our lives. And uh, I love that experience. In one of the previous videos, I mentioned that I would love to be able to jump into the camera and be able to share a dram with you all. So, um, yeah, and I look forward to that moment when I will be able to. And one day, if you guys are ever in Sydney, or I'm in the UK, the US, or Europe, wherever we may be in time, and I know that you're in that area, or there's a possibility that we can meet up, expect to see a message from me, because we are going to share a dram together. And the basis of this community is sharing our whiskeys, sharing our thoughts, and just enjoy. I think the biggest part of it is actually enjoying each other's company. I mean, I've got at the moment I've got 5 of you in the chat, and if you didn't enjoy being here, for one, you wouldn't. You'd be off somewhere else, and I'd be here talking by myself. But yeah, as I mentioned in my video, I think was it yesterday or the previous one, which again I noticed I have been doing quite a few live chats recently. I hope you don't mind at the frequency that I've been putting them out. They've just gotten me so excited, and I just love doing them. So I feel like I've just been pumping out a few of them lately. But as long as I have at least one person in that chat room, I'm going to keep doing this. So on that note, to all of you that are in this chat, Vin, Alan, Mark, Whiskey Owl, uh, thank you so much for being a part of this chat. Thank you for sharing in my journey. I'm going to love you and leave you now. I have a few other things to do at the moment. I had a day off for once, and I'm going to go and enjoy my day off. It's off to a good start already, so I'm going to continue this moment. So thank you all so much for joining me. I hope to see you all again on the next chat. Again, for those of you who are watching this on the replay, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And please share this with your friends. If you've got your fellow whiskey noobs out there who want another noob to talk with, well then, hey, I'm your friend. So please share away, and I look forward to seeing you all again on the next chat. If you have any suggestions for things that you would like to see me do on future chats, please leave a comment below and I'll get around to it. So thank you very much. I've rambled on enough for the day. Get peace. Enjoy your night. Thank you very much.